Meanwhile, President Trump believes he has the legal right to pardon himself. The president tweeted early this morning he has the right to pardon himself, even though he did, quote, do nothing wrong. President Trump also referred to the Russia probe as a witch hunt. For more on this, we'll go now to our political panel for the evening. Conservative commentator Steve Malzberg joins us, and Reese Evarson, attorney and founder of BABES, Babes in the Workplace. Folks, thanks for being with me today. So, as you know, the big talk today is that, President Trump's self-pardoning ability. So whether you agree with it or not, the pardon power is probably one of the least limited powers as granted by the Constitution. The only explicit limits to this power state that it not be applied to the impeachment process, and it's applicable only to offenses against the United States. Now, apart from that, it rests solely on the judgment of the president. Reese, how do Dems square that, and does he have the legal right? How do you read that?
So the frank answer is he very well may have the right to do that, but in an issue of impeachment, he should not be allowed to do so, and he's not allowed to do so. So if this is an investigation and a probe into whether there was collusion, whether someone was attempting to sell their access to the president to another country or help a president interfere with an American election, then absolutely those are terms for impeachment. So the very fact that he would be attempting to pardon someone who may very well have been involved in an impeachment, even if that's himself, is completely unacceptable.
Steve, your thoughts?
Well, this only came up because George Stephanopoulos asked the question of Rudy Giuliani yesterday. It's not like the president started with, I could pardon myself. And Rudy laughed and said, I guess he could. Yeah, he could, but he won't. So I don't even know why anybody, no offense here, of course, because everybody else is talking about it. I don't know why anybody's talking about it. It's a non-issue. As you correctly said, Manila, there is very specific about this in the Constitution as far as limitations. And nowhere does it say that the president couldn't pardon himself. Now, again, he could. I believe he could. But he would immediately be impeached and removed from office. So, it's a red herring. What difference does it make if he does? Because criminally he wouldn't be held liable. He'd pardon himself. But he never said he could do it with regard to impeachment, and he can't. So it's a non-issue.
Yeah, but Steve, go ahead, Reese, please.
Here's why it's actually an issue. It's an issue because they have one of two options at this point. If they want to clear this probe, then Trump can go on record and he can testify. And if he testifies, there's a great likelihood that he'll be caught up in something that he very well, didn't mean to say, because as Giuliani said, our recollections keep changing. So if there's an issue where his recollection keeps changing, he's now subject to something we like to call perjury, because this is not a reality TV show. This is real life, and he's bound by real laws. And in the event that there is perjury, he would need a pardon.
Now, if this truly is a witch hunt, though, Steve, as POTUS says, why even float the idea of a self-pardon? Why not just keep this in his back pocket or break the glass in case of emergency?
Well, I don't know why he felt the need to tweet this morning, again, in the aftermath of Rudy Giuliani, answering a question about it from George Stephanopoulos. But, that's the president, because the media misrepresented it. The media, if you just listen to the headlines and the fluff piece stories that last for, 30 seconds, they said, oh, the president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, says Donald Trump could pardon himself. But he didn't volunteer that. He was asked about it, and he said, oh, interesting question. Yeah, I guess he could. And yes, he could. And again, by the way, to perjury trap, having an sincere inconsistent recollection does not qualify as perjury. It's intent. You must intentionally lie to be charged with perjury. But that aside, he wouldn't be president if he pardons himself. So the left will get its wish, and then they'd get Mike Pence, and they'd rue the day they ever didn't want Donald Trump to be president. So again, this is, the more this is talked about, the more the left harps on this, the better it is for his approval ratings, and the more the gap with the generic congressional ballot will go Republican.
Reese, the president has talked about pardoning people like Sheriff Joe Arpaio or disgraced Governor Rod Blagojevich, et cetera. He's already pardoned conservative commentator Dinesh D'Souza. Does he understand the gravity of a presidential pardon and what that really means legally?
No, and he also pardoned Jack Johnson. He seems to rely on people that are maybe celebrities or things that he's heard that might be a good idea. As we know, Stallone suggested he pardon Jack Johnson, which is a good thing. But here's the truth of the matter. The Federalist Papers created the presidential pardon for the purpose of restoring humanity and good policy. So someone like Rosa Parks, who may have been arrested for sitting on the bus, but because it was in opposition to the moral compass of America, they should be pardoned. Here's the issue. It's not a perjury trap when you're dealing with someone who practices the art of mendacity. And so what you have is a guy who's been playing kind of loose and free with his words for years. I mean, he's been in reality television. He's been in the beauty industry, or beauty, beauty pageant. And so for him, he can just say what he wants without consequence. But in this lifetime, in this real world, playing with the presidency, he can't just do that. You can't go from, being the apprentice, oh, you're fired, to now, oh, this is the tyrannical president, oh, you're pardoned. No, this is not that kind of situation, and he just can't just use that haphazardly.
Yeah, he certainly has the knack for picking controversial figures, at least to pardon. So we got to leave it right there, folks. Thanks so much. Again, Steve Malzberg and Reese Evarson, thanks for being with us tonight.